Hey folks, welcome back. My second video today, but this one is very important, folks. Now we all stress, all these channels that you watch stress the importance of safety, stress the importance of health, and stress the importance of an emergency kit, right? So I'm a firm believer. I used to work in the medical field, so I'm a firm believer of education is important. I am a firm believer that everybody should know CPR and first aid before they even graduate high school. That should be a requirement. So, you know, I feel that I am prepared, or I felt like I was prepared, had everything that I could think of to keep on hand, had it all organized. I have a small tote of pain relief. I have one for allergies. I have an emergency, and this is where I'm going with it. Emergency tote, so all I have, and it's written, emergency. The pain one is written for pain. The other one is for allergies, cold and flu. They're all named, and they're all pointing frontwards, so I know which one I have to go to. And then I have one for everyday use, right? So, the one that I call it a tote. It's probably this long, almost as wide, and 8-10 inches tall, and it has one of those plastic covers that you clamp so everything stays in place, and it's all organized in there, I thought. So I stress the importance of having a emergency kit. Now, you don't have to be a doctor, you don't have to be a surgeon, you don't have to be a specialist in this field or that field. Just a general emergency kit, just in case it's needed, right? Well, I have one of those, folks. I do, and like I said, it's got great big letters, emergency use. So, I was up getting some drinking water from Shay, right? Remember this? Remember this? That's water from my well. Not looking very pretty, is it? So, holy old Hannah, I almost needed my own emergency kit right up here in the other end of the garden. So, gotta be more careful than that, right? So, I was up to Shay's getting my drinking water, and she got stung. She got stung just above the elbow on the inside of her arm, and she said it hurt, but she didn't see what stung her, and we was talking, probably 6-7 feet apart, and I didn't see anything. So she said it stung pretty good. So we continued talking, and she didn't have any allergic reaction. Mind you, I'm allergic to hornets, right? So she weren't displaying any of the signs and symptoms. So I left to come back home. So I no longer then sat down, folks, when I got a phone call. And it was from Cousin Shay, and she says something to the effect of, I'm not feeling very good. She goes, I'm really dizzy, I'm lightheaded, and she goes, at first I'm hot, and then I'm really cold, and she goes, my head feels really funny. Do you have anything down there for a bee sting or a hornet sting? I said, yep, I'll come right up with it. So I went to my emergency first aid kit, right? I finally found a bottle of Epis 200 CK, which is what I use. I found a bottle of Benadryl. I grabbed an ice pack, and I headed up. A disposable ice pack. You squeeze and it gets cold. And that size that I use is 5 inches by 9 inches, and I feel that's a really good size. So I went out, and she's sitting out on her front deck and getting some fresh air, I'm assuming. And the inside of her arm was pretty red, pretty swollen. So I dug out it calls for 5 Epis tablets. You put them under your tongue. I dug 5 of those out, told her put them under her tongue. And get the ice pack. She put the ice pack on it. She did have a small, you know those cooling claws that you put around your neck and they kind of Velcro? You're not supposed to put them in the freezer, but she does. And she had one of those. It was probably an inch wide. And she had it just on that swollen area. I said, that's not big enough. You need something bigger than that. Use that ice pack. So what I learned, folks, what I learned from all this, thought I was, pretty confident that I was prepared. I was not. So I was prepared that I had everything, but I didn't have anything right there at my fingertips. So what I am going to do, folks, is get a plastic shoebox with a snap-on cover, and I am going to put bee stings, everything needed for a bee sting or hornet sting, and write exactly what to do. And in there I'm going to have my Epis 200 CK. I am going to have a bottle of Benadryl. I am going to have a unopened bottle of store-bought water. I am going to have a baggie with baking soda in it, and another container of sterilized water so I can just mix it up as a paste. I am going to have a small container of vinegar. I am going to have a small container of alcohol, and it's going to have 2 or 3 of those disposable ice packs. Right? In my first aid kit, I have a pair of reading glasses, a magnifying glass, and some tweezers. Because if you're like me and you can't see squat up close, and if you have to see to really clean a wound on yourself or on somebody else, you're going to need to be seeing what the hell you're doing, right? And the tweezers for splinters, the tweezers for stings, right? In case you get stung and the stinger's still in there. So Cousin Shay had Benadryl on hand, but she said it was old, so she threw it away and she did not replace it. So we both learned something. She learned that she needs to be better prepared. She goes, I have never been affected by a sting before in all my life. And remember, she's older than dirt. She's a couple years older than I am. So in all the years that she's lived and been stung, she has never ever had a reaction. So this is why it's important, folks, that even though you never had a reaction before, somebody else may have a reaction. You may have a reaction for the first time, like Cousin Shay. Or you could get bit several times and have the same reaction as somebody that is allergic or semi-allergic or mildly allergic, right? You never know. So if you have one of those one of those totes with everything that you will need or may need, and you get it so you put a cover on it, so you can just say, okay, sting kit, grab the whole tote and bring it with you. Everything is right there, right? So, and the same with a burn kit. I've been meaning to put a burn kit small shoebox tote together and write burn kit, so I can just grab it and go if I need to, right? Now, another thing with keeping everything sorted out, folks, is if, like, I learned another valuable lesson when I was up here in the upper end of the garden and got into a ground hornet nest, right? Yellow jacket. And got stung numerous times on the back of my hand. Folks, I barely made it out of the garden. I was staggering like I was drunk. I was throwing up. I could barely see. My vision was very blurry. I felt short of breath. I felt really cold and clammy. And I knew that I just needed to get out of the garden. So if I can just get up past the garden, and if I collapse, then somebody will see me and hope it's in time. That's how bad of a reaction that I had. So I learned a valuable lesson on getting better prepared for stings. So I had a point to that. I had a point. So you need to, even though you have never been stung before and had a reaction, does not mean the next time that you are not going to have a reaction, folks, okay? Now, if you carry an EpiPen because you're severely allergic to this or that, I hope you carry it with you, folks, right? So the Epis 200 CK is what works best for me, and I carry it on me at all times. It sounds like I have a thing of Tic Tacs in my pocket all the time, but it's always on me, especially during hornet season, right? So just be prepared. And even though you've got it, and you need to know exactly where it is. You need to know that you can grab it. And even if you are cut, if you are really struggling like I was on the back of the hand with all those, it was multiple stings, folks, multiple. You need to be able to get it, so if no one is there to help you, that you can get to it. Open the box up one-handed if you need to, right? In case you can't use this one. And have it right there, everything that you need. Because if you don't have it all organized and you do not have it separated, you have it in a tote. Well, I think it's in this tote. I think it's in that tote. Well, it must be in this one because it's not in the other two. That's valuable time that you or somebody else you're wasting, right? They could die in the meantime, folks. Depends on what the emergency is, right? So my recommendation is something that is a priority this week, is sorting everything. So there's going to be a burn kit here with instructions in case somebody, you can dig it out, or you can direct somebody where to find it. They go get it. But if you cannot help yourself, or you are not with it enough to tell them what to do, and they have no idea what to do, and they open that burn kit up and they see honey and saline, maybe they don't have a clue what to do with that, right? Or if you get stung and you direct somebody to go get the sting kit and bring it to you, and you don't have the whereabouts to tell them what to do, right on top should be an explanation of what to do, right? Epis 200 CK. It is round, it is tubular, it is this color, 5 tabs under the tongue, so they can just grab it and put it under your tongue if you need to, right? In both those kits, you should have a bottle of Tylenol in both those kits. So you know that bee and hornet stings are very painful. So if you take a 250 or 500 milligrams of Tylenol, and that could help down the road a little bit, right? Once that kicks in, the same with the burden kit. While you're treating them, or while you're going to treat them, or before you treat them, have them take that Tylenol and let that get working, right? Now, years ago, and I'm saying years ago, I don't know how long ago it was. It seemed like many lifetimes ago. But I know some of you probably know who she is. It's Patriot Nurse. I am going to find that link. There might be 2 videos, I'm not sure, where she goes right into first aid burn kits. first aid, how to treat a burn, and she goes right into good detail, folks, and she made a lot of good sense. So I'm going to put one of those kits together. Everything that has to do with burns, the gauze, everything, right down to the honey, folks. And a bottle of Tylenol and some saline. And it wouldn't hurt you one iota, folks, because saline isn't cheap, and you can make it very easily at home. I would have the instructions on how to make saline, because there's only so much saline that you can probably store. So if you use the store-bought saline to clean the wound, you can always make some more to make saline to use to clean the wound after the fact, right? Now the thing about making the saline, it does not last very long, so you're going to have to keep making it. I think it lasts like 3 months, but I'm not really sure. That's something I've got to look into. Is if you make some saline and you pressure can it and seal it, or at least you seal it, and then I'm not sure how long that would last then. I'm not really sure. But anyway, that's just, I felt I had to get that out there. It could save your life. It could save somebody else's life. And in an emergency, every second counts. So if you spend 30 seconds, 60 seconds, 5 seconds trying to find what you need out of that emergency kit box, that could be somebody's life. All right? So it's all about safety. It really is. And I know there's a saying in this community, Band-Aids, bullets, and beans, right? So make sure you are having your Band-Aids. Make sure you have everything in every situation that you can possibly think of. And another thing, where everybody is having all this heat, you might want to brush up on the signs and symptoms of heat stroke, heat exhaustion, right? And you might be able to save somebody's life, or at least make them a whole lot more comfortable if you know what to do. It's just the basic first aid, folks. Basic first aid will get you way further down the road than somebody that doesn't know anything, right? So it's always good to know. It's always good to brush up. And it's all well and good if you have a medical book. But again, if somebody is, it's life or death and they needed to be treated, then do you want to go grab your book, look at the index, turn to that page and read what to do while they're sitting over there and they're suffering or they're dying, right? Would you want to do that? Time is very valuable in an emergency, folks. So I learned a valuable lesson trying to dig those 3 things out. Okay? I could put my hands right on the ice pack, the disposable ice pack, but the EPIS had worked its way down to the bottom underneath everything, and the Benadryl was standing right up straight, along with the Tylenol, the ibuprofen, and several other things that I had up there. But I had to pick every one of them up to look to see if it was Benadryl or Tylenol or ibuprofen, and of course it was the last one that I picked up, right? So it wouldn't be a bad idea if you're going to store things like pain meds upright, that you right on the top of the cap, the cover, T for Tylenol, I for ibuprofen, or B for Benadryl, or however you want to do that. So I'm just saying, folks, you never know. I was never allergic before, but now I am, right? We don't know until we get stung again. So we need to have that stuff all ready, all put up. I learned a valuable lesson. I need to tweak a few things, and Shay learned a valuable lesson that, you know, if you run out, you're getting low, or if you check the date and it's old, and you toss it, get more. At least if it's outdated, you keep it on hand, you get some more, and then throw that away, because even though it's like Benadryl, even though it's past its due date, and I say that lightly, folks, it's past its due date, and if you need that, at least it might not work as well as something that's not expired, but at least it's going to work, right? So that's all I've got to say today. I learned a lesson. Shay learned a lesson. I don't want you folks to have to go through that for yourself, or a loved one, or somebody you see walking down the road that doesn't look very healthy. They might have got stung by a bee, right? They could be, honest to God, when I got stung way up here, and it's not 100 yards down to the end of the garden, I had all I could do to get that far, folks. I was walking like I was drunk. I had all I could do to stand up straight. I could not walk a straight line. So not everybody you see staggering is intoxicated, folks, okay? So thank you for coming back. Share this if you feel you need to. This is one video where I didn't have anything planned. I just jumped in front of the camera and is just talking. But so it's rather long, and I apologize for that. But this would be a good one to share, maybe, or at least share what's in the video to others, right? And thank you for coming back. I appreciate you being here. And don't forget I'll put the video or videos of the Patriot Nurse for the first aid burn treatment. Alright, everybody should know that and have that written down and have those supplies on hand, as well as learning how to make saline, how to store saline, and it would be a really good idea to try to find out how long saline lasts in storage, okay? Thank you.